Welcome back to Caffeine Confessionals. My name is Allan, and in today's video I'm going to be doing something that's been requested in the comment sections on many videos, and that is I am going to rank every single MTV challenge competitor to have come from the United Kingdom. This list will only include people coming from UK reality shows from the kingdom itself, so that does not include OG players like Joe Rhodes or Dean Nguyen, who was treated on War of the Worlds 2 as an Australian reinforcement. For this list, the rankings will be a mixture of physical performance on the show and achievement statistically, and what was your impact on the show? Did you matter when you were on it, or were you wallpaper? Now that we have that out of the way, there have been 18 UK competitors on MTV's The Challenge. Let's rank them all. Also, a quick editor's note I gotta drop right now. When I made 95% of this video, Spies, Lies, and Allies had yet to come out yet, and because of that, rookies like Kelz Dyke and Priscilla Anyabu are not included on the list. I'm going to wait for the season to end before I ever drop them in an all-time ranking. So I apologize for them not being on the list, but let's get into the actual rankings. Kicking us off in 18th place is Sean Lineker from War of the Worlds 2. He only lasted one episode, and that is truly sad, as Sean is the only gay male who has been cast on the last 4 seasons of the challenge. Sean got thrown into the first elimination of the season due to his rookie status and put up a valiant fight and effort in his pole wrestle elimination with Idris. However, as they say, nice guys finish last, and that's what everyone says about Sean. He's just a nice guy. Following up Sean, in 17th place, we have the lovely Jawando from Double Agents, and I think she has the potential to skyrocket up this list in a couple years, but based on what we saw in Double Agents, 17th is right for her. Liv only lasted 3 episodes of Double Agents, and while she had some funny confessionals and a cute friendship with Gabby, Allan, and Big T, that's not enough to give her a higher ranking on this list. Apparently, she got into some more drama and some Showmance stuff that wasn't shown, but because she had gotten injured 3 episodes into the show, MTV ultimately decided they weren't going to give her that camera time. Again though, of all the people at the bottom of the list, I think Liv has the highest potential to one day be at the top. Next up, in 16th place, we have Nicole Bass from War of the Worlds 2. She was mostly known as Georgia Harrison's mucka, or simply Georgia's best friend. While Georgia was a natural on the challenge, her best friend Nicole was the opposite. She was not outgoing, she seemed to have no interest in playing the game, and was afraid of the more extreme challenges. Compared to other bad competitors though, at least Nicole was self-aware. She asked the real hard-hitting questions, like why am I jumping off a cliff? Why am I in the trivia challenge when other people aren't? I'm clinically dumb. She literally called herself clinically dumb. Nicole Bass was not meant for the challenge, but at least she knew it. She also proved to actually be a decent swimmer in the swimming challenge that season. After Nicole, in 15th place, we have the 8-episode run of Esther Falana from War of the Worlds 2. Esther was an out-of-nowhere last-minute casting due to the fact that UK reality star Georgia Steele dropped out at the last minute. While Esther was a last-minute addition, she brought a great energy to the show. She had an infectious laugh, great confessionals, and represented all the moms of the world. Sadly, Esther's function in this season was that she was simply a pawn used by the majority UK alliance, consisting of people like Kayleigh, Joss, Rogan, and Dee. Unfortunately, once it was their butts on the line, they simply threw Esther into elimination, and she faced Georgia Harrison, where she put up a good fight, but came up short. I really enjoyed Esther on my TV and wouldn't mind her on another season. In 14th place, we have our first competitor who is technically on 2 seasons, and that is Miss Zahida Allan. She appeared on War of the Worlds 1 and kind of War of the Worlds 2. Zahida is a reality TV star built for a X on the beach or a too hot to handle. I don't know if Zahida had it in her to be a great challenge personality, but she was a victim of 2 different things: editing and bad luck. For example, when it came to editing, War of the Worlds 1 had so much competition and so many storylines going on that her showmance with Cain was completely edited out. And when it comes to luck, according to all reports, she had a partner in Zach Nichols who did not even want to be there and was trying to get eliminated. Then on her second season, there was a death in the family that resulted in her leaving after the first challenge. Zahida likely would have went far into that season considering her friends controlled the political power in the game. While I don't think Zahida would have been a power player on the challenge, she had a showmance, she won an elimination, 14th place seems okay. In 13th place, we have Idris Virgo from War of the Worlds 2, where even though Idris was a minor character, he had major effects on the season. On episode 4, the week following Laurel and Josh's blind side of West, Paulie and Carl were able to convince Idris to retaliate back. He threw Laurel into elimination with Ninja Natalie, where Laurel would proceed to get eliminated, resulting in Paulie's alliance having a majority of the numbers for the rest of the game. This giant hybrid UK-US alliance only used Idris as a pawn though, as a few weeks later he would get voted into elimination and got absolutely throttled by Theo. If not for Idris, War of the Worlds 2 might go in a completely different direction. As a competitor, he continued to fail in the daily challenges, but at least he did get his elimination pole wrestle win over Sean Lineker. In 12th place is Ashley Cain from War of the Worlds 1, and I was one of the biggest supporters of getting Ashley on the challenge, as I really thought he could be the British CT. As a former professional soccer player who hooks up with a ton of women, gets into a bunch of fights, Ashley Cain seemed born for the challenge. He even quickly established himself by winning the first challenge of the season, picking Cam as a partner, getting into a showmatch with Zahida that once again was unshown, and then having a 3-person alliance of himself, Theo, and Bear, in which they also added on Zahida and Georgia. He looked like he was going to dominate the game. And then things just really didn't work out. Him and Cam were an okay team. They were not the powerhouse duo that I was expecting. His biggest fights and hookup were edited out of the show in favor of other players. I truly believe that if you rewind Ashley's challenge career 100 times, 90 out of 100 he becomes a face of the franchise rather than the one and done player he became. If you have kept up with Ashley on social media over the last year, you are probably aware that he and his girlfriend recently lost their daughter after a long battle with cancer, in which he showed so much bravery and they fought so hard, and my heart is with them. It is a very trying time, and I just wish the best for Ashley Cain. In 11th place, we have Miss Gabby Allan, and while she is small in stature, Gabby put in a pretty significant dent on double agents. Gabby was someone where from day one, you could tell she didn't really know what she was getting into, but as time progressed, she began doing better in the challenges and adapting to lifestyle in the house. She started the game off as Leo Rush's partner and was incredibly emotionally supportive towards him and his struggles. Then she partnered with Devin and they made for a hilarious duo as they were never on the same page, but competitively they complemented each other really well. Together, they won one of the most intense daily challenges of the season, in which other teams were actively trying to sabotage them. Gabby ended the season as Corey's partner and would actually put up a solid performance in the Up All Night Eating Challenge, coming in 2nd place. Her elimination with Nany was a stellar performance, as Nany completely outsized her in a pole wrestle type game, and Gabby was still able to get 1 out of the 3 rounds. On top of physical accolades, politically, Gabby was part of the Itty-Bitty Rookie Girl Alliance that aligned with Teresa to create the Ashley vs. Cam elimination. In terms of house life, she had one of the most awkward showmances in challenge history with Fessy and a small little rivalry with Amber B. To top it all off with a fun fact, on Double Agents episode 10, Gabby broke the record for most confessionals by a female in a non-finale episode with 19. Moving into the top 10, this is where things kick up a few notches. In 10th place, we have Kayleigh Morris, who was on Vendettas, Final Reckoning, and War of the Worlds 2. Kayleigh was one of the original 5 UK imports on Vendettas, and she quickly adapted to the social elements of the house, creating friendships in the game and having a showmatch with Nelson Thomas. She also had a secret week 1 kiss with Johnny Bananas that would eventually blow up the Banana Natalie showmatch. That event eventually snowballed into the famous scene where Brittany, Jemmy, and Kayleigh threw her suitcase off a balcony during Vendettas, leading to her exiting the game. According to some, this event was brought on by Kayleigh stirring the pot, drama and rumor-wise, which I'm not really sure of. The optics of it were 3 girls bullying another. As someone who covered Vendettas thoroughly live in the moment, I can tell you her quitting had no impact on the game, as she was the worst physical competitor in all the daily challenges that season, thus making her performance as Cam's partner on Final Reckoning, where they won 3 eliminations together, all the more shocking. Kayleigh did not come on the challenge to physically compete, but once she was partnered with Cam, she could not let her down, and she held up her end of the bargain. Every single elimination they won that season was against a team with at least 1 male competitor, and the last one was against 2 males in Brad and Kyle. There was a key moment that completely changed my opinion of Kayleigh, and it was during her elimination against Jose and Devon. Kayleigh, who did not even like swimming, was repeatedly getting dunked into freezing cold water, trying her best, just so that Cam could have a chance to stay in the game. Additionally, Kayleigh also got into some drama with Brad Fiorenza and Natalie Negrati, while also continuing and picking up her showmance with Nelson from Vendettas. When Kayleigh reappeared for her third season, War of the Worlds 2, she proved to be a savvy political and strategic player and was key to the US alliance of Paulie, Cara, and Cam being able to manage the game on both sides. By Kayleigh controlling the votes of her two best male allies, Joss and Rogan, by proxy she was able to control the votes of Dee, Idris, and Esther as well. Much to the chagrin of players like Georgia, Jenny, and Theo, Kayleigh controlled the power on their team. She was responsible for getting her enemy Georgia thrown into 3 eliminations, finally succeeding in getting her out once she faced Tori Deal. Kayleigh was so proud of this moment that when she lost the swimming purge a couple weeks later, she didn't even seem mad. I think under most circumstances, Kayleigh would be a one and done challenge competitor who would get forgotten in time. Instead, she had an awesome 3-season run with showmances, drama, a 3-0 elimination record, and some big political moves. That's pretty awesome. Next up, in 9th place, we have a competitor who again appeared on Vendettas' Final Reckoning and War of the Worlds 2. It is Joss Mooney. Joss winning the first daily challenge of the season on Vendettas is one of the most crucial moments to UK players on the challenge because it made fans immediately respect them as competitors. The immediate negative takeaway from Joss's rookie season and his whole challenge career though was that he was a bit boring, and it was rumored that production was not going to ask him for a second season until his elimination with Derek Kosinski aired, in which so many fans appreciated his hour-long battle with a challenge legend. In Joss's second season, he had a historic run alongside Sylvia Else Rode. Together, they were the only team who entered the house on Final Reckoning on day 1, never went to the Redemption House, and made it to the final. As a pair, they went on to win 2 eliminations, including a massive upset over Tony and Bananas, in which they were picked because they were viewed as beatable. Along with that, they were clutch in the end game as they won the final 2 daily challenges of the season to send themselves to the final. They had a very close second place finish in the final, where there are still many conspiracies that they might have actually won and only said that Ashley and Hunter won so that the money would get stolen on live television. Joss also had a showmance with Amanda Garcia on Final Reckoning, which got him into much more drama than he's used to. Joss's third season, War of the Worlds 2, aside from a Hall Brawl win over Stephen Bear, it was pretty embarrassing. He was wallpaper most of the time, and when he wasn't, he was getting manipulated by either Kayleigh or Rogan. Joss took bullets for his alliance and in the end got taken out via a swimming purge in which his partner Kayleigh, who sunk his chances, showed zero remorse. While Joss's last season did not go well, he undeniably gave legitimacy to UK players on the challenge, and his Final Reckoning performance statistically ranks higher than a lot of other challenge champions. Moving on to 8th place is someone you might think should be ranked higher on the list or should not be on it entirely, as they could be going to jail in a couple of months, and that is Stephen Bear. I am not going to be talking much about Bear in this video, as I personally believe the only attention he deserves right now are on his current legal troubles, but I knew if I left him off there would be a lot of people complaining, and objectively, when he was on the show, he inarguably grabbed your attention. Bear appeared on 3 consecutive seasons, War of the Worlds 1, War of the Worlds 2, and Total Madness. Each time it was like watching a firecracker get thrown into a lion's den. To some people, he was the funniest person on the show. To people like me, he annoyed me to no end. Bear did have his entertaining moments, like his chaotic relationship with Devon, his rivalry with Wes Bergman, and his wooing of females like Kayla Casillas and Laurel Stuckey. Bear was also on the winning side of 3 different eliminations, but I never really considered him a serious competitor, especially after he made Kyle look like LeBron James in their elimination on War of the Worlds 1. Alright, we're done talking about Bear. Switching over from someone I didn't want to talk about to someone I'd love to talk about any day of the week, in 7th place we have Miss Big T, Tula Fazakerli. Big T has been on the last 3 seasons of the challenge, War of the Worlds 2, Total Madness, and Double Agents, and is likely to appear on season 37 as well. She has grown from a challenge afterthought to one of America's favorite competitors. On Big T's first season, she had no idea what she was getting into physically and competitively, and seemed like someone MTV had only cast to ensure that their bigger stars had a layup to go against in elimination. When Big T actually went into elimination, she had an over 90-minute long battle with Georgia Harrison, where she admits she found something within herself that she didn't know she had, and immediately once she got home, she started training for the next season. Due to a couple people dropping out before filming, Big T was added to the cast of Total Madness and made the most of her second shot. She held her own in the daily challenges. She wanted to get involved in the politics, had hilarious confessionals. There was just an undefinable quality to Big T that made her likable. While her medical DQ on Total Madness was sad as she had to leave the game, it was also one of the funniest moments in challenge history as she was freaking out over fresh cotton pads and asking for her wig so that she would look hot at the hospital. I'll be honest, even though Big T had these enjoyable moments, I was a bit of a hater and a doubter. She had a vocal minority of fans, but then on Double Agents, she turned that into the mainstream. Her partnership with CT was the cutest television I've ever watched until CT blew up their partnership, to which Big T showed so much power and respect for herself by not allowing CT to get away with a half-assed apology towards her. Big T also proved to be an awesome veteran by guiding and supporting rookie girls in Gabby and Amber the way that she would have wanted to be supported on her rookie season, and also using them strategically and politically to create the blindsided elimination of Tori and Anissa. Watching Big T make Tori Deal kiss the same hand that was going to send her into elimination was some mob boss mentality. Big T also won 2 daily challenges, which was more than Nani and Amber, 2 of the female finalists of the season, won combined. Big T not only beat Anissa in elimination, she completely blew her out of the water. As the season was airing, film critic and head of content at TheRinger.com, Sean Fennessy literally tweeted that Big T was the best character on TV right now. When you think of what makes up a great challenger, you think of a physical beast, someone getting into hookups, someone getting into messy drama. I don't think Big T checks any of those boxes, but she checks one big box that no one else has, and that box is that she is Big T. Just being herself makes her a fan favorite. You want to root for her. You never want to see her get hurt. Big T becoming a major character on the challenge is something I never saw coming in a million years, but you just have to enjoy the ride at this point. Moving on from one great female to another, in 6th place we have Melissa Reeves. When we rank some of these cast members, it sometimes becomes a question of quality versus quantity, and Melissa is all quality. Even though Melissa only lasted 5 episodes on Vendettas, yeah that's right, 5 episodes, she had one of the more memorable debuts in challenge history. In those 5 episodes, Melissa injured her foot while playing cheerleader with Natalie Negrati. This injury would send her directly into elimination, where with the injury, she defeated Alicia Wright. Following this elimination win, she decided to go for a celebratory naked swim in the pool, in which she invited Nicole Zahida, then met up with her in the bathroom and started a same-sex showmance between the two. After this, she would proceed to flirt with many of the guys, getting some of the women angry. This resulted in a massive fight between Cam, Jemmy, and Melissa that affected the whole house and eventually got her thrown into a second elimination where she faced Sylvia Elsrode in one of the most underrated eliminations in challenge history, where both girls are getting super physical in an oil pit playing dirty. It is a great elimination to watch. And while we are talking mostly about what these people did on the show, you have to add in that if you went to social media after the episodes and in the in-between time, Melissa was fighting with all of these girls, just shooting from the hip. It was great television. It was great social media experience. If Melissa was a basketball player, she scored 30 points in 10 minutes and then got kicked out of the game. Her DQ due to fighting on Final Reckoning was immensely disappointing as a follow-up, especially as she had a strong partner in Cam, and together they could have made a formidable pair. Melissa completely redeemed herself with her overall performance on Total Madness. In the first half of the season, I was personally disappointed as she played a more low-key, under-the-radar type game, but I could understand it as she had been kicked off the previous season for fighting and was probably warned that she had a short leash going into this season. Little did I and the viewers and she even know that she was actually pregnant while she was filming the season. Because of this, her energy level in the house on top of being in the bunker were probably off. Her being pregnant definitely affected the edit, as they didn't want to show her getting into too much drama. Along with that, they showed her and Kyle's relationship as more of a friendship than a showmance than anything, in order to avoid any baby daddy rumors. Nonetheless, even with the more low-key edit, Melissa was able to have 2 of my favorite verbal takedowns in challenge history. She completely eviscerated Nelson in defense of Kyle at the bar one night, and then at a voting ceremony tore Josh Martinez to shreds with a hilarious impression of him. Melissa is the modern-day Katie Doyle when it comes to verbal altercations, and making it even better is the fact that she has that beautiful accent. And remember, I'm ranking Melissa this highly because she is memorable. She won daily challenges and a physical elimination while pregnant. She ran half a final while 4 months pregnant. That is insane. So many players have won championships or made it to finals. Not many players have run half a final while 4 months pregnant. Melissa 1000% deserves the number 6 ranking, and an honorable mention goes to Vienna. Continuing the trend of strong female competitors, in 5th place we have Miss Georgia Harrison, who appeared on War of the Worlds 1 and War of the Worlds 2. When you talk about impact, Georgia debuted on the challenge as a 5-star player from the jump. She was physically strong, competitive, got into showmances, was a bit messy and played the game emotionally, and more than anything, she was solid in her confessionals. She was used as a narrator. Nobody averaged more confessionals on War of the Worlds 2 than Georgia. What's funny is that when initial spoilers leaked about War of the Worlds 1 and people saw that Georgia came in 8th place in the final, everyone just assumed that Hunter had carried her there. Then the season actually airs, and in episode 1, she comes in 3rd place in the prospect draft. People are like, oh, maybe she's better than we expected. She follows this up by taking out Ashley Mitchell in a physical elimination that apparently went for over an hour with multiple restarts, with Georgia prevailing. So even though what we saw on TV was anticlimactic, they went at it. In episode 3, she's wrestling in the mud pit with other girls, completely stripping Nani of a ball and helping Wes and D get the win because their team had the relic, ultimately allowing for their alliance to knock out Johnny Bananas by episode 3. As a pair, Georgia and Hunter tied for the 2nd most tribunal wins as a pair and would have been first had they not given that free win to Wes and D. And what's funny to look back on is that if anyone was holding one another back, it was Hunter holding back Georgia in the more cardio-intensive daily challenges. Georgia would go on to get an additional daily challenge and elimination win as an individual en route to a finals appearance where she DQ'd pretty immediately due to dehydration. I do want to note, while Georgia's final was cut short pretty quickly, I think in large part it was due to the fact that the final itself was genderless and she was trying to keep up with Olympian Theo Campbell's pace. As fit as she is, she can't keep up with an Olympian. If she just went at a slower pace, I think she could have been the 1st place girl. On War of the Worlds 2, Georgia entered the season with a bit of an ego after making it to the final the previous season, and that ego was immediately stomped on by players like Kayleigh and Cam as they continually threw her into elimination. She won 2 eliminations and proved again to be a strong competitor. Her career elimination record is 4-1, she has a lot of daily challenge wins, has been in showmances, alliances, and it will be interesting to see if she ever returns to the franchise. When Georgia was on the show, she was a star, she was a major player, and a threat to win. I don't know if she'll ever come back, I don't know what her status is with MTV as it stands, or if she wants to do more reality TV in general. But as it stands, the end of her challenge story still remains unwritten. Next up, in 4th place, is someone who I believe is one of the best villains in modern challenge history and was the first ever UK challenge champion. That is Mr. Rogan O'Connor. Rogan was one of the 5 original UK imports to debut on Vendettas, but his rookie season ended in the blink of an eye following a long-standing back injury flaring up during the opening purge. A fun fact is that even though Rogan never entered the official challenge house, he ended up partying with alternates Derek Kosinski, Kellyanne Judd, and fellow purgee Nicole Ramos, to which after they were done partying, he hooked up with Nicole. So even though he never got to see the challenge house, he had a hookup on the season. After Rogan did not appear on the 2 subsequent seasons, I believe most fans assumed that his entire legacy would be him dying on the top of the Gibraltar Rock. So when he appeared on the cast for War of the Worlds 2, and then not only lasted more than 1 episode, but won the entire season, people were kind of shocked. Rogan proved to be a very savvy political, mental, and social player. Rogan immediately established a showmance with Dee Nguyen, seeing all her allies on the American side as an asset to him, while also strengthening the UK alliance of himself, Kayleigh, and Joss. Rogan also somehow convinced CT that he himself could be a CT Jr., often calling him Pops, and I think Rogan does a really good job of manipulating people. Whenever there needed to be power plays in the game, he would have D, Joss, or CT make the move so he wouldn't take the heat, and when he needed to be saved from elimination, he would throw up some puppy dog eyes and have his friends save him. There was a crucial team vote early in the game where Rogan basically strong-armed Idris, saying, "Aren't we best friends, buddy? Can't you save me from this elimination?" Only for 2 weeks later, Rogan to say, "Hey man, you're a rookie. It's your time to see elimination, even though I haven't. Sorry man, that's the game." Rogan had the innate understanding that if you're not the smartest person in the room, the next best thing is making sure your opponent thinks you're dumber than you are. Rogan is the wrestler who will run away from a fair fight the first chance he gets. He will cheat to win, and if need be, he can actually compete. As proven on Total Madness, he won some big daily challenges. He absolutely murdered Jay Starrett in their elimination on Total Madness, and while everyone admired Nelson's heart and courage for volunteering for Corey and putting up a masterful fight in their hall brawl, Rogan still won 2-0. From playing a scared game to his toxic relationship with Dee, Rogan proved to be a dislikable player. But when you look at the numbers, he made 2 finals in 3 seasons, won a season, and proved to be an all-around talent. It was an effective style of gameplay even if it wasn't, again, the most likable. Going from the first UK male to become a challenge champion to the first female to do so, in third place is Miss Jenny West. Jenny has appeared on 2 seasons, War of the Worlds 2 and Total Madness. On her rookie season, War of the Worlds 2, Jenny immediately established herself as one of the top players on the UK team due to her impressive physical physique. In one of the few individual challenges in the entirety of War of the Worlds 2, Jenny set herself apart by killing all the other females in a swimming challenge. Jenny also had an elimination win over Nicole Bass, where even though her opponent wasn't strong, she put on an impressive display of cardiovascular muscular endurance. Due to Jenny's fitness background, fans were really quick to compare her to challenge all-time great Emily Scrum, so when she got absolutely clobbered by Tori Deal in a hall brawl to end War of the Worlds 2, people thought she was just popcorn muscles. When Jenny came back for Total Madness, she immediately silenced her haters. She won the first daily challenge of the season, won the first female elimination of the season in dominating fashion, and then continued to just dominate the game as a whole. She won the most daily challenges of any female in the game. She was able to take out her biggest competition in Dee Nguyen right before the final in the last elimination of the season in a hall brawl, exercising her demons from the previous season. The win becomes especially impressive as you look at that Total Madness cast. There are no scrubs on that cast besides Jen Lee. Another small fun fact and accolade is that she crossed the finish line before any of the men did in the Total Madness final. If Jenny ever gets cast on the challenge again, she will be an immediate favorite to win, and that speaks volumes to the type of player she is. Why is she third? It's because she doesn't bring those other elements of drama, hookups, and stuff like that, and I don't know if she'll ever be casted on the challenge again. She was used as an alternate for double agents, and then isn't on 37 at all. I know there are a lot of fans who don't care about drama when it comes to rankings, but there are so many fans who do. And MTV obviously does, because even though Jenny has the potential to be one of the best to ever play the game, and maybe already is, because she isn't bringing enough entertainment, they might not give her that opportunity, and it's sad. Based on everything she has physically achieved though, Jenny deserves the number 3 ranking. Following up Jenny is the player who I personally believe to be the best all-around challenge talent to come from the UK, and that is Mr. Theo Campbell. Theo stood out on day 1 of his rookie season on War of the Worlds 1, in part due to his whopping 6'5" frame, in part due to his athletic background as a professional sprinter. And also, after coming in 3rd place in the initial prospect challenge, Theo then stirred up the house by getting into a fight with Ashley Mitchell, swerving us into thinking he was going to pick her in the prospect draft, only to make the smart choice and take Cara Maria Sorbello, an ultimate steal that made them a power duo in the game. They went on to tie for the most tribunals as a pair that season, often winning the hardest challenges. Theo proved to be savvy politically, immediately establishing his alliance with players like Ashley Cain, Stephen Bear, and Georgia, while Cara had Polly on their side. Theo was immediately competitive physically, politically, and socially, was willing to mix it up and get into fights with whoever he wanted to. He even had a showmance with Cam Williams. Theo was cocky, but in a good way. He presented himself well as an arrogant player in confessionals and could back it up on the field. The guy picked up a big elimination win against Kyle at the end of War of the Worlds 1, went to the final, put up a masterful performance, and if he was just slightly better at math, he would have won the hardest final in challenge history, and all the accolades we throw into Turbo would have went to him. On his second season, Theo was on the other side of the game. Instead of being on top, he was consistently fighting from the bottom. He wanted his team to keep the strong players so that they would be good in a final, not knowing that half of Team UK was in bed with the majority US alliance, just picking off the strong players on UK one at a time. They threw Theo into 4 total eliminations. He beat Johnny Bananas, Kyle Christie, and completely dominated Idris Virgo. Sadly, his season ended in a sledgehammer swinging contest against Jordan Wisely, a known sledgehammer specialist. Watching Theo play the underdog role was ultimately very entertaining because he kept his cocky demeanor. As his enemies were throwing people at him, he kept taking them out. He knew his place in the game, and because of that, he was willing to stir it up with anyone. I saw him get into fights with Rogan, Pauly, even CT. He had no fear of CT. He asked Team USA to give him CT in elimination. If not for a freak accident with a champagne cork that impaired his vision, Theo Campbell would have been the favorite to win either Total Madness or Double Agents. If he ever can come back to the show, he's set up for a rival season, an exit season. But again, you look at his stats, 4-1 elimination record, second place in the hardest final ever, and just a great competitor. Just fills every checkbox you want of a challenge competitor. He deserves number 2 on this list. And before we name the number 1 UK challenger, let's review the list. In 18th, we got Sean Lineker. 17th, Liv Jawando. 16th, Nicole Bass. 15th, Esther Falana. 14th, Zahida Allan. 13th, Idris Virgo. 12th place, Ashley Cain. 11th place, Gabby Allan. 10th place, Kayleigh Morris. 9th place, Joss Mooney. 8th place, Redacted. 7th place, Big T Tula Vasakerli. 6th place, Melissa Reeves. 5th place, Georgia Harrison. 4th place, Rogan O'Connor. 3rd place, Jenny West. And 2nd place, Theo Campbell. And the number 1 UK player in MTV challenge history should come as no surprise. It is Mr. Kyle Christie, the John Cena of UK challengers. He debuted on Vendettas and has been on every season since. To put that in perspective, Kyle is on his 7th season of the challenge. The most of any other UK competitor is Big T with 4. For the men, it's 3, meaning Kyle has more than double the amount of appearances of the second most prominent male UK player in challenge history, and most importantly, he hasn't just been on 7 seasons, he's been an important character. Kyle has gone from the social game party playboy to being embroiled in one of the biggest season-long rivalries in challenge history, to becoming a comedic relief character, to being an actual threat to win, to just being a staple of the show who makes you smile. Let's do the quick recap. Kyle's rookie season Vendetta, he comes in and immediately he has 2 girls vying for his love, Marie Rhoda and Cara Maria Sorbello. He gets into a showmance with Cara and together they just coast through the game. He doesn't make any enemies, he makes a lot of friends, wins some daily challenges, shows to be a bit strategic, and then in the final itself shocks everyone by coming in 3rd place overall and was the 2nd overall male in that final. He brought out a lot of fun in Cara and together they were a great showmance. Then the next season Final Reckoning happens, he happens to ghost her, and then he kind of just plays with her emotions. But he still ends up being pretty entertaining because he gets into a hookup / showmance with Faith Stowers, and then after she gets eliminated and Ashley comes in the house, hooks up with her first night in the game. He and Brad open the season with a couple daily challenge wins, he gets into some fights with Cara and Pauly throughout the game, and hilariously, he loses 3 eliminations in embarrassing fashion. Kyle looked like someone who got lucky on Vendettas, then he came back for World of Worlds 1 with a massive target on his back as Pauly and Cara were going after him. It was this season with a target on him that Kyle really stepped up. He was winning clutch daily challenges to keep himself safe, won a 3-way pole wrestle elimination against JP and CT, which I know he got a lot of help from JP, but he has a pole wrestle type win over CT and that is legendary. In terms of entertainment, he continued to feud with Cara and Pauly, had a little showmance on the side with his partner Maddie, wins an additional elimination where he crushes Bear, and then has an epic hall brawl with Theo. Even though Kyle lost that elimination, he showed so much heart as he was able to take a round of hall brawl against a professional sprinter while having a busted knee himself. I'll be honest in saying that Kyle's season on War of the Worlds 2 was very unremarkable, but his Total Madness season was very solid. Kyle had hilarious confessionals, a cute showmatch with Melissa Reeves, and of course to top it all off, a 2nd place overall finish on the season. Double Agent was another marquee season for Kyle, where production really relied on him at different times. When they needed good confessionals, they went to Kyle. When they needed someone to be funny, they went to Kyle. His rivalry with the Big Brother Alliance also made for great TV. Sadly, his season came to an end as he lost the last elimination of the season to Fessy, but he's back again for Spies, Lies, and Allies. As long as Kyle can bring his giant teeth and excellent energy in confessionals, he will be a fixture on the challenge. Is Kyle the most talented or physically gifted person on the show? No, not even close. But he just knows what makes good reality TV, and he has a presence to him. After watching him come close so many times, I want to see him win a season. Kyle at his worst is an entertaining and engaging cast member, and at his best, he is a fun underdog to root for. Thank you to everyone who watched this video, especially if you got to this point. If you can, drop a comment on who your favorite UK player is, drop a like on the channel, drop a subscribe. It's much appreciated. Have a great day.